Today's video is gonna be a very simple one. It's gonna be who knows how strong and smart Kiyotaka Ayanokoji is. I'm gonna be checking this one out. This is from Anime TV. I think I reacted to one of his videos as well before, but let's see how things go from here. Satamayo, Chie Hoshinomiya, and Teruhiko Yukimura. So 5% for Mayasato. She saw how quickly he ran in the relay race. Remember that in season 2, episode 5, I believe, or episode 6. It was from volume 5 in the light novel. 5%, I think it's a little bit higher. But yeah, Chie Hoshinomiya, I think, should be higher than 10% because she at the very least knows more than students themselves. She already knows that Ayanokoji is a big threat compared to other students, and she feels like Ayanokoji is most likely the strongest student in the entire batch, right? Yukimura, there's no percentage. There it is, 10% as well. I don't think he has similar range with Hoshinomiya though. But yeah, it is what it is. Next up is gonna be Yosuke Hirata. I think it's more higher as well, around 30%, but yeah, it is what it is. He knows that he is very insightful and responsible. He knows more than that. Okay, next up, next batch, Morishita Ai. She is the latest edition in Classroom Delete in the light novel, but for anime onlys, you probably don't know her well. So yeah, she thinks that he is the one who is the secret leader in the class. Yeah, she does feel like something is amiss, and she was like investigating in the entire end of year 2, and she finally learned that Ayanokoji is actually one of the crew leaders of their batch. Next up is Shina Hiyori with 28%. She guessed that it was him who managed to calm Ruin down. One of the most underrated things in Classroom Delete is actually Hiyori, because Hiyori is actually one of the most quick-witted students in their class batch, but she's somewhat a pacifist in this area. That's why she's not really interacting with much students, but she is somewhat a dark horse in this game. But let's see how things go. Okay, next up it's Chiaki Matsushita. For me, Chiaki Matsushita is actually one of the more underrated characters because she's actually quite smart, not at the level of the leaders, but she is at the very least aware that Ayanokoji is pretty smart. 30%, I think Yuri is supposed to be is supposed to know Ayanokoji more compared to Chiaki and the rest of the students. So let's say Shina Yuri is around 50%, and then Chiaki Matsushita is around 30%. Yeah. Next up is Ryuji Kanzaki. 32%. In the latest volumes, it seemed like Kanzaki has managed to decipher Ayanokoji on who he actually is, because he finally learned Ayanokoji's backstory, or at the very least who his parent is. And yeah, he got a connection, and at that point it seems like there is something he noticed something, but the problem is he does not truly know what Ayanokoji's capabilities are. So 32% is a bit high. I'm gonna put him around, let's say, 15 to 20%, but he does suspect Ayanokoji a lot, so I guess it's actually quite possible. 32%. Next up is Kushida. Kushida is one of the earlier students who managed to decipher Ayanokoji's abilities. or one of the first few students who managed to like get an introduction with Ayanokoji. So yeah, this is believable. 35 with uh, all her cunning wouldn't be enough to expel him from the school. Yeah, everything that she tried to do to Ayanokoji, it failed miserably. Next up is Katsuragi Kohei, 40%. Uh, yeah, somewhat because of the latest or in year 2. Ryuen told him how cool Ayanokoji is, and he managed to witness it during year 2 after, like, let's say, volume 4 or volume 3, because that island exam, it somehow showed Ayanokoji's capabilities, and starting from there, Katsuragi, like, was suspicious of Ayanokoji. Next up is Honami Chinuse. She knows that he comes up with all the witty strategies for winning. And Chinose is probably one of the few students who Ayanokoji is very like active on. He always is very very helpful with Ichinose. Not only that, he's actually using Ichinose as a guinea pig for for growth. Uh, the progress of Ichinose so far, very high, and she definitely knows a lot about Tainokoji. So 42%, believable. I think it should be higher compared to other students. But yeah, it is what it is. Next up is Ken Sudo, actually. Sudo himself admitted that he doesn't stand a chance in H2H combat, hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. Well, he witnessed something brutal, so it is what it is. But does Sudo actually know much about Tainokoji? He only knows that he's very smart. He hides his abilities. But other than that, he doesn't really know what Ayanokoji is even capable of, or compared to at least Ichunose. Let's say, who else are there? We have Hiyori, right? And especially Kushida, who knows more information. Sudo, yeah, is so high. It's definitely not 50%, around maybe 20, 30. We're only talking about Ayanokoji's how strong Ayanokoji is on the school, okay? Not his background in the White Room, because that's gonna be impossible to know. Next up is Masayoshi Hashimoto. Hashimoto has suspected Ayanokoji for quite a while now, since year 1, because of this a small remark by the student council president as well as Nagumo. So yeah, his suspicion was very very justified, but at the same time, since then he began stalking Enoji, so he's basically learned about Enoji than most students, but at the same time, he still doesn't know that much, because Enoji does not allow him to know much, right? So 50%, can be lower, can be higher. It is what it is. Next up is Albert Yamada. I hate the fact that we don't have much content about Albert, man. We've been shown Albert at the very start that he is something that people might fear or something. But in the end, he's actually a gentle giant, which we actually like. He experiences strength firsthand. So this is only about strength, not involving academics or something. Because, yeah, we don't really know much about Albert, to be honest. Only that he likes flags. But we like Albert. Albert is the best lolly. Guaranteed. Next up is Daichi Ishizaki. Ishizaki, 58%. Well, yeah, he witnessed a lot. He witnessed Ayanokoji's prowess a lot, so it actually speaks volumes. It's actually quite believable, 58%. I can agree with that. Next up is Kazumi Hosen. He knows that he is very strong and wants to fight him. Yeah, this is the only thing that uh Hosin knows about Ayanokoji, right? But oh yeah, we're talking about strength. We're talking about strength. Oh no, not only strength, it's and smart as well. So practically everyone in their batch, not only in their school, knows that Ainokoji is actually smart and athletic, right? Because of what he did in the exam in year 2, volume 1, as well as in the race with Manabu in year 1, volume 5. But Kazumui Hosen, he knows that he is very strong. He also knows that he is very smart because he paired up with Enokoji, right? Next up is Mio Ibuki. She tested the strength on herself several times before calming down. This is one of the few persons who is a little bit traumatized with Enokoji's strength and actually doesn't want to be entangled with him. Next up is Nanase Tsubasa. In terms of students, I think Nanase Tsubasa is actually one of the few who practically knows Ainokoji because she has information about him. She is practically a agent to observe him, right? So yeah, this is kinda makes less sense. She wanted to seek revenge on him for her childhood friend, but he prepared to be stronger. This one is doubtful because of the recent volumes, and there is some suspicion that Nanase is actually just playing along, and the butler is not actually dead. But yeah, let's see in the future, man. I think Nanase Tsubasa should be higher. Next up, though, Sai Chabashira, Sensei. So she wants to exploit his skills to elevate the class. In the latest volumes, most teachers or all the teachers actually know Ayanakoji's capabilities now, so there's no doubt in that. And yeah, Shabashira should be higher than other students too, because their interactions, their communications. Ayanakoji, Shabashira Sai is practically one of the few teachers who know more than Ayanokoji. Next up is Shiba Katsunori. This is definitely higher. Is supposed to be definitely higher. People who are like agents of Ainokoji's father are supposed to be on the highest tier because this is only the middle part of the video. Jesus, man, 75% he is connected to the White Room, so he knows about Ainokoji. Yeah, same goes here with Nanase Tsubasa, man. How can she know less than Sai Chabashira, right? But it is what it is, can't do anything about it. Next up is Kiryuin Fuka. Kiryuin Fuka is actually one of the waifus for she's a shocking waifu for year 2, and she saw Koji beating up temporary director. She actually helped Aino Koji even though it was only for a little bit of time, right, to like stall. And she practically is like glazing Enokoji every time. And she really is interested with Enokoji amongst the other students, even more than Koenji, which is crazy, right? Next up is Horikita Suzune. One thing in Classroom Delete is that there's a perception that Horikita actually knows more about Enokoji, but I think there's a difference between knowing a person's strength and as well as being aware that someone is hiding their actual strength. In Horikita's case, I think she is aware that Ainokoji's potential is actually really high, but she does not really know what his abilities are because for one, Ainokoji always managed to hide his abilities if if Horikita is involved. The only thing that Horikita actually witnessed, the thing that Horikita managed to witness though, is his, yeah, he is very strong, but she is still doubtful with Ayanokoji for some reason, right? When Ayanokoji was stabbed, he was still doubtful for some reason. That's why I was feeling strange with her perception. Not only that, in terms of the in the academics department, she probably does not deny that anymore, that Tainokoji is the smartest student in the entire school. But yeah, Rikita, 78%, kind of justified. Next up is Karuizawa Kei. Kei, she considers him super cool because she has seen what he is capable of. Yeah, I think Kei is one of the few characters who actually tries to understand Tainokoji, even though there are some moments that she is trying to lie to herself so that she won't be depressed. But in the end, we all know what happened in year 2, volume 12.5, right? So it is what it is. Nagumo Miyabi. Oliver shot, nobody's eternal. Yeah. Nagumo got murked by Ayanokoji, right? One shot, one kill. But in the end, Nagumo still kind of thinks that he can beat Ayanokoji in a fight for some reason. Even in year 2, volume 10, right? Or no, volume 9, I believe. No, it was volume 10, yeah. Year 2, volume 10. It seems like Nagumo still thinks that Ayanokoji could be beaten. But, yeah. We didn't really have an actual fight between those two, so it's a shame. That's just a shame, man. Next up is Horikita Manabu, 90%. He fought against Koji and realized that he is an extraordinary person. This one is actually weird because we were introduced with Manabu and he suddenly just attacked Koji out of nowhere, to be honest. And yet after that simple exchange, he managed to like see that Ayanokoji seems to have potential and started to become interested with him. Yeah, this was also being shipped in the early days of the novel as well, which was crazy. But yeah, amongst the students, 90%, kind of believable. Kakeru Yuruan. Koji is the only one whose skills Ryuen acknowledge. Yes, as well as I think Sakayanagi Arisu, right? But Ryuen is one of the few students that Ayanokoji is willing to show his abilities, right? And it actually paid off. It's similar to Ishizaki and Albert and Ibuki, but the difference is Ryuen has a wider insight than those students. Next up is Rosuke Koenji. He has inhuman intuition. This started in year 1 volume 8 during the training camp. Yeah, this was the first episode of season 3 or season 2. Season 3, yeah. He does think that Ayanokoji is like the strongest student in their class or the secret leader, but at the same time, does Koenji really know Ayanokoji's strength? Because they haven't really interacted with one another, right? So he's still trying to gauge him, and he probably doesn't know about the White Room too. But yeah, let's see. Chairman Sakayanagi he's supposed to be like in one of the higher people, or one of the few people that has the highest understanding of Ayanokoji, but yeah, it is what it is. He knows about his past because he often visited the White Room. Well, this is understandable. Next up is Harisu Sakayanagi. Sakayanagi, We all know Sakayanagi is very obsessed with Ayanokoji, and she practically knows Ayanokoji better than most students, right? She visited the White Room in her childhood with her father. Not only that, Ayanokoji, she practically has most information about Ayanokoji except for his, let's say, IQ, because she thought that Ayanokoji at first was a like false genius, but in the end managed to convince Arisu and as well as make her fall in love. Next up is Amasawa Ichika. She considers Koji a god because of his unattainable achievements. Well, she is one of the White Room students, and most White Room students, I believe, are already informed about Koji, right? As well as Takuya Yagami, as well. Among the fifth generation, he is the only one who observed his actions in the White Room. So 96 and 97% is kind of believable. Next up is Yuki. Yuki, if you do not know, if you haven't read Year Zero yet, Yuki is the, let's say, female lead on that arc. But yeah, she was with him in the White Room, but we all know what happens to the failures. Next up is Shiro. Shiro, he is the very last of those who left Kyopon in the White Room. Yeah, practically Shiro, I think, is the amongst his peers or the batchmates, is practically one of the few people who actually understands Ainokoji closest. But we have here Ainokoji Kiyotaka himself. Yeah, I kind of believe this 99%, and I think I know who is gonna be the last one after this. So even though Ainokoji is someone very smart, he's practically the person with the highest IQ, still does not know some of his capabilities, right? One thing about that, one thing that surprised him was his ability to, I think it was his ability to cook, right? He was actually surprised about that, and then afterwards he kind of started doing that. And yeah, it seems like there are still gaps in Ainokoji that he still does not know, but he is interested in doing them. And last one is, I think, his father. Oh, never mind. There is still Tsukishiro. Yeah, the adults. So yeah, we're gonna end with the adults after this. He knows about his results because he received a list of victories in the White Room. Yeah, we all know Tsukishiro, right? The principal in year 2. We all know what happens. Next up is Ayanokoji Atsumi. As his father, he knows what Kiyotaka is capable of. So who is gonna be the last one? Because I thought that Ainokoji's father is gonna be the last one, but I guess we still have one more. Suzukake Tanji. He considers him a mutant because of his abilities. Was he from Year Zero? I kind of forgot. Yeah, I think he's from Year Zero. But yeah, I guess that's gonna be it. We have finished the entire thing. Jesus Christ. It's only 2 minutes, but I managed to stretch it very longer. But that's practically it. If you have other thoughts about this, I think Hiyori and Nanase should be higher, and some students should be lower, because we should take we should take consideration in their like perception abilities, their ability to think quickly, right? But yeah, overall, it's a good video. Once again, shout out once again to Anime TV. Please like his video or subscribe to him if you want more. But yeah, practically, that's gonna be it for today's content. We will be seeing you soon in the next one. Goodbye.